Yo, what is happening, guys? This is Paradox. A lot of people have been asking me how to make custom ideologies for the Political Machine 2020 with the community-made GUI. It's a little intimidating at first when you look at it, but honestly, it's super easy once you know what you're doing. The GUI was made by Jordan Wright on Fiverr. Dude's a super homie. He made this super easy, and once you get this down, like it looks scary when you look at it. And from what I've seen from a lot of new people that want to make ideologies, they get really intimidated right off the bat by looking at this. But it's honestly, once you get it down, it's just a grind to get it out. Making a decent length ideology takes about an hour. But for this video, I'm just going to make a 3-issue ideology just for the basics. So the first thing we're going to do is I already have a set path here, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it just to show you guys. But you want to open up My Documents, which is right here for me, and go to where your Political Machine custom mods would be. So by default, it's in Documents, My Games, Paul Machine 2020, Mods, Ideology Trees. And in here you can see I have quite a few of custom ideologies already made that are on Steam. But you just want to right click on Ideology Trees folder and do Copy Address. Then we can close this box and go ahead and paste that in your path and hit Set Path. This is pretty much, when you import or export a ideology, that's where it knows to export and import from. Then we're going to give it a name. This can be anything, just to keep your folder organized. I'm going to name this Tutorial. And just a little note, you don't have to do this, but this is what I do, is usually when I do internal names or file names or whatever, I usually do them in all capitals, just so I'm more organized and I don't get lost that easy. Or at least that's how I did it when I first started learning it. So then you're going to go ahead and hit Export, and you have made your file. So if I open back up to My Games, and I go to Paul Machine, Mods, Ideology Trees, I'll see Tutorial is there. And if you open it, there's not much in it. It's just made, just for example. Then we're going to give it an internal name, and this is what the ideology is known as in-game, like in the in-game files. So I'm going to name it, again, Tutorial, in all caps. I can name it anything I want. It doesn't have to match file name. Then we're going to give it a display name, and this is what it will show up as in-game. So Tutorial for Newbies. And I'm going to give it an icon image as a drop-down box. You can just choose whatever you want. I'm just going to choose the meteor, because why not? And then we give it a description. This ideology is for my YouTube to teach, I can't type, people how to create ideologies. Smiley face. In each box, I guess I should note that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different boxes on this GUI. This top box is just for the exporting. This is for like the name and the tutorial. And every time you make an edit, you want to hit Save Details. So I'm going to hit Save Details. And then if I wanted to erase the smiley face, I didn't want the smiley face to be in there. I'll have to hit Save Details again, or else it will not save. And that goes for pretty much anywhere that has save in these different boxes, these different areas. You always have to hit Save. It's very, very important. I can't stress that enough. So hit Save. And now we're going to get into actually making the ideology. So for the first one, we're just going to do gun rights, because why not? So I can name, for internal name, you name it anything you want. Again, it's what the game recognizes your issue as in the game files. So I'm just going to name it gun. And then we give it a name. Support for gun rights. Why not? And then we got to give it an issue icon. There's the gun icon. And then the points cost. So that's how much your ideology is going to cost when the game begins. So it costs 1 point. I could up that up to. Let me rephrase this. Sorry. It always defaults as 1, I believe, unless I set it to 0. I could be wrong on that. So like if it's actually 1, it costs 2, if that makes sense. So it always goes up by 1. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong on that, so you might have to check me on that. But we're just going to leave it at 1, so it costs 2 points, 2 ideology points to purchase support for gun rights. And then cost increase. And that's how much each ideology on your ideology tree increases by your points cost after you've purchased the gun rights. So if my next one is traditional values, and all across the board, my 3 ideologies, they all cost, I don't know, 2. When I buy gun rights, it will not, then traditional values will become 3. Then a screen placement. This is important. It's the look of your tree. For me, I'm just going to do it super basic. But what you can do is you can hit this little box that says grid. And it opens up another window. And this is kind of like a visual representation of what your grid will look like. I usually take a blank grid, like you see in the background here with the hexagons, and I put them in Photoshop and kind of map my ideology that way. But if you're not like handy with Photoshop, or you don't want to do the extra work, it's pretty easy. You just click boxes, and we'll do this after I finish making the rest of the ideologies. All right, so go ahead and pick a color. So usually gun rights in the game are red, so we're just gonna make this red. Prerequisites. So this would mean that I would need to purchase a different ideology for this one to unlock. And since it's the first one on our tree, we're just going to leave it blank. Keep in mind that if for any ideologies you leave blank, it's going to be unlocked by default. Then a description. We can give it a custom description if we want to, but we don't have to. And then issue tag. All right. So issue tag is a little more complicated. In the description of this video, there's a document made by King Jazz. Shoutouts to him, mega homie, community member. And he compiled a document with all the issue tags in the game. So if you're new to making ideologies, you're probably wondering what an issue tag is. Every issue in the game, whether it's the socialism or gun rights or abortion rights, pretty much any issue in the game has a tag, as long as it's a base game issue. So if I'm making my own custom issue, which is like, I don't know, like Jeffrey Epstein, suicide was conspiracy or whatever, there would not be an issue tag for that, I don't believe. So I would have to make my own, which I'll explain later. But since gun rights is a base game ideology, we are going to go ahead and look in that document and find the gun rights tag. So what you can do is you can open the document. I'm going to actually just cut here, so it doesn't take forever to do it. But what you can just do is open up that document and then just, on your browser, do a search, and then type in, usually it's always all one word. You can just type in gun and it will usually pop up, and you can find the tag. All right, so the ideology tag is gun rights, all capitals. And then the rest of this is a little more tricky if you're inexperienced. What you could do is you could go into the game files. So for me, it would be OS, Program 86, Steam Apps, Common, Political Machine 2020, wherever that may be. The Political Machine 2020, sorry. Go into Data again, English. And then here's like a lot of the game files and that you can look at. So I believe it's ideology trees, and these are all the base game ideology trees. So for example, if you want gun rights to be synced with like base game gun rights, unfortunately in the document it doesn't have all this information. Hopefully, it's a lot of work, but hopefully someone can add that to the document down the road. That'd be super handy. But if you know an ideology, it's a base game that has gun rights, you can go ahead and open it up and start filling this stuff out. So for example, we're going to open up, I'm pretty sure conservative has it, I'm not entirely sure. We have traditional values, we'll need that later. Lower taxes, less regulation, deficit reduction. They have gun rights on here, don't they? Maybe it's establishment Republican I'm thinking of. Pretty sure it is. Nope, gun rights right here. So you can just go ahead and look, and then they have the tags here. So let's open this back up. We'll move this a bit. All right. So national importance change. That's pretty much the national importance of the issue. So each issue has a base importance in their tag, and that pretty much, if you've ever played the Political Machine and you finish the game, or you look in the polls and it shows the list of issues and how important they are, once you buy gun rights, the national importance change will change it. So it makes it go up or down if you want. on the exit polls. So, for example, in the base game, national importance change is 5, so we're going to go ahead and change that to 5. Dem is 2, Republican is 3, Independence 1, and the issue stance is plus 50. But you can also do negative 50 if you wanted. If it was like gun control, you could do gun rights negative 50. But since we're supporting gun rights, we'll just do 50. Enthusiasm 6, 3, and add enthusiasm needs to be set to 0. Add enthusiasm, as I'm sure, doesn't really do anything, so I always leave it default to 0. I mean, you can mess around with it if you want, but I suggest leaving it to 0. So again, just like national importance, Dem, Republican, Independence is per party, and it's the importance change on each side. Pretty self-explanatory. Then there's issue stance. That's how many points you get in that category, which is gun rights in this case. There's enthusiasm. That's how much enthusiasm you gain. Enthusiasm for your opponent is how much enthusiasm they gain. And then the add enthusiasm, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to affect your ads that you put out. I'm not entirely sure, but from what I've seen from base game, is almost all of them are set to 0. So you can just leave it at 0. Then we're going to hit save on both of them, ideology and gun rights. And that one's done. That's our first one. Then we're going to add a new one. Let's do traditional values. Why not? So I'm going to hit new ideology, and then there's this little arrow. It allows me to go back and forth. Just a warning, like I said about saving, if I had made changes here, so like gun rights, you know, I'm just typing random things, I'm just changing things, D, why not, 4, stuff like that. And I go to the next page without saving, and I go back, it'll default to what I saved to. So always remember to hit save before you move to another page or anything like that. So for traditional values, we're just going to go ahead and make traditional, why not? Traditional values. And I'm going to make, I don't even know, let's make it kill the fish, why not? Points cost, I'll just leave it at 1, increase by 1. We'll leave the screen placement 1-1 for now. I believe that's the same as gun rights for right now, but we'll change it. We'll go back to it. We'll make this one yellow. And prerequisites. All right, so if I want to make it so I have to have purchased gun rights before I purchase traditional values, I need to go to the internal name for gun rights. I'm going to go ahead and copy that and paste it in traditional's prerequisites. And what that will do is, you know, I'll have to purchase gun rights in order to unlock traditional values. As of right now, there's no way to do multiple prerequisites. I don't even know if that's possible with XML coding. So just keep in mind you can only do one at a time. And we didn't give it a description on this last one, and I'll explain that for a second, is that each issue tag in the game has its own description. So by default, if I leave this blank, it'll just do the basic gun rights description. For this one, I'll just be like, traditional values are cool, I guess. And we'll save that. And it will show up in game as the description. For issue tag, we're going to go back up in this document and find... You can also find the issue tags in here. You don't have to use the document I've linked below, although I find it a lot easier. Traditional values, all one word. We'll go down here. National important change, 3. Dem 0, Republican 0, Independent 0, 50. Then we'll do 4, 0, 0, save. All right, and that one is done. See, I'm telling you guys, this is easy. But we have to do the grid before I forget. So if I hit the grid button, the grid will open. And we're just going to go ahead and find, there's traditional values right here, and gun. So if you click this box, you can do it anywhere too. You don't have to do it. But so this was our gun. It was 1-1. And that's the color, and that's the icon. And then let's just do it this way. And then we're gonna give traditional values. And I don't remember if I hit save grid. I can't remember. I don't usually do it with the grid. Okay, so it does save it 2-2. And it does change the icon here. That's kind of annoying, but it's all right. So if you're doing the grid, just remember to pick your thing. We'll just do Illuminati, because why not? All right. And now for our third one, And this one's going to actually be a custom one. This is not going to be a base game. So I can show you guys how to do that. So our next one, new. I remember to click save, didn't I? Okay, I did. We're going to do QAnon. This is not a base game issue, but we're going to make one, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So just replace my QAnon with anything you want to make in the game. So we're going to do support for Q, give an icon image. Let's just do Illuminati again. We did Illuminati last time. Let's just do Meteor. Why not? We'll make this one 3 points, just, to add variety. And then cost increase, we'll just do 1 again. Oops, not 11. That's a lot. And then we need to save it and then go back and get traditional. Put it in the prerequisites. So we'll make this one purple. Usually the conspiracy issues are usually purple. And for description, we'll leave that blank because I'm going to show you how to make a description for a issue tag. So for issue tag, we're going to make it QAnon, all one word, all capital. And we can, since this isn't a base game issue, we get to choose what we want. And this is where balancing kind of comes in. You'll have to come in and test things and make sure things work properly in game. And if things are overpowered, you nerf it a little bit. It takes a lot of testing. So for national importance, we're just going to do. I'm going to make this relatively weak. So I'm just going to do 1, 1, 1, 1. Issue stance. QAnon's pretty extreme, so I'm just going to make that 100. Usually when I make extremism ideologies, I make the number bigger. Versus gun rights as an extreme ideology, so it can go to like 50. Enthusiasm, why not? Everyone loves QAnon, don't they? 5. Opponent, probably also 5. And then we're going to hit save. And then we're going to hit save here. So now we need to make an issue tag. Which is what this box down here does. And you only do this box down here if you're making an issue that isn't in the base game. So for tag, we're going to match it with issue tag up here. So we're going to go ahead and do QAnon. These two names need to match. Then display. This is what it will show up as in the issue menu. So like if you double click on a state and it shows state issues, this is what it will be. So we're just going to name it QAnon. Oops. And then a description. QAnon is a far-right conspiracy theory that is kind of crazy, bro. And then we have to give it positions. So think about QAnon. The left doesn't like that, so we're going to give it -3. I forget the exact what numbers indicate. I think -3. So like if you double-click on like Florida, for example, right? And in game, it shows the thumbs ups and the thumbs downs for what Republicans and Democrats and Independents think about certain issues. I believe -3 is either 2 thumbs down or 3 thumbs down. If you want to be safe with like a 3 thumbs down, we can just do -5. Right wingers, I'm gonna leave it at 0, and then independents are probably like -2. Why not? And importance, so the higher importance you have, the way the game reads importance is kind of weird, so I'm struggling to explain it. But the more importance an issue has, like I think by default, stopping coronavirus has the most importance in the game by default, and you could easily make an issue beat that. And the higher importance it is, it shows, the more it will show, more likely it will show up as a state issue. So if you want to make something that's not a heavy state issue, you want it to have low importance. Usually leaving everything as 1 is good enough to like not have it show up as a state issue that you can campaign on, but have it enough to where like it affects the game by giving you, enthusiasm or affecting, what one side thinks of you. It's something you just kind of need to toy with, and don't be afraid to mess around with. So we're gonna go ahead and save that. I'm gonna hit save on everything because I don't remember if I clicked things here. And just for one last thing, because I haven't taught it, is you can attach multiple issue tags into one issue. So, for example, with QAnon, if I purchase the QAnon ideology tree, it will give me 100 points in QAnon, and these stats will affect. But I can also add multiple issues. So not only will it affect QAnon, I can have it affect something else. So for example, if I want to do, man, I don't even know, like LGBTQ rights. I don't know what the issue tag is, but because I don't have the thing up, but I can have it do that and just change it to whatever. I can just look it up in the file and whatever, and I hit save, and then can affect multiple issues. I think it can affect up to 3. So there's some issues that are like implementing carbon tax, where you lose points in support for the fossil fuel industry and fracking and coal mining. You can lose up to all 3 of those just by purchasing one ideology. I hope I explained that well. I mean, I just kind of remembered that last minute. But yeah, so we're going to delete this because I think it might break the game with those crazy numbers. But once you have everything saved, go ahead and click the export button, and it will export it into your folder. And now you're done. So now you just got to open up the game. All right, so now we're in game. So sometimes it's very rare, but I've had it happen to where I made an ideology and I get an error screen. If you get that error screen, I'm sorry, but you're just going to have to remake your ideology. Hopefully you didn't put too many hours of work into it. But it has happened. It happened to me like once, I think, which is really unfortunate. So I'll go ahead and we're going to hit play. And Republican, why not? And then we're going to just make a dude. And you're going to find your ideology. Tutorial for newbies. Boom, has my little meteor icon and everything. We're just going to hit done, and then we'll try them out. Alright. So if you hit your ideology... Okay, I messed up some things. I forgot to put the third guy. Yeah, I messed that up. We're going to have to go back. So if you do have to go back and make some changes, you would open up your political machine XML modifier, click on file name, and just type in the name that you named your file, and click import, and everything saves, which is really nice. It makes it super easy to do edits and all that kind of stuff. All right, so we have what I had messed up was screen placement. So we have 1-1 on the grid, but we have this fancy little grid thing, which is kind of nice now that I'm kind of looking at it. We're gonna do gun to traditional values to QAnon, and we gotta give this a new. We'll just do a virus. It's kind of a virus, isn't it? All right, save grid, and then go ahead and hit save ideology and export. All right, now we're going to launch up the game and see if I fixed it. All right, as you can see, I fixed up my ideology. The problem was that I had 2 ideologies in the same spot. Pretty easy fix. But as you can see with the support for gun rights, it has its own description because it is a base game issue tag. So it has a description in the files, as well as the custom things I sent. And I'm just going to get some ideology points real quick. Alright, so I got some ideology points. I'm going to buy support for gun rights, and then it unlocks traditional values. And here's the description that I put in the game. Traditional values are cool, I guess. You can put anything you want if you want. I could have left it blank, like I said, and it would do base game description, similar to the gun rights. And then if I buy that, it unlocks support for Q, as well as this kind of stuff. And then successfully made a 3-thing ideology. Obviously, it's a lot of work. It's taken my Kanye tree that I made. It's on the Steam Workshop. Check it out. That took me at least 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Not to mention, if you were making custom issues or if you're going into the game files and looking for stuff, as well as King Jazz's document, it's a lot of just going back and forth and making sure you don't fuck anything up. But like I said, I hope I made this as simple as possible, because when you look at the political machine GUI, it looks super intimidating, but it's really not. Once you have it down, it's just very copy paste. You kind of know what you're doing. If you have any questions, feel free to look in the description of this video and join the Political Machine community Discord, and there are people in that Discord that can help you out. as well as we have an awesome community with matchmaking. We have some tournaments coming up, so if you're into competition, usually they're free, and we're gonna have prizes and all that cool stuff. So yeah, definitely join. If you have any problems, feel free to @ me, Paradox, in the Discord, and I'll try to help you out as much as I can. I hope this video helped you out. This is my first tutorial of this type, so I hope I kind of explained it good enough. And we'll see you guys next time.